Chords and Coffee number 18. Take you a quick drink. Working on gravity. Don't have it quite yet, but I'm just starting to mess with that. But today, I wanted to talk to you about polychords. That's where two chords are sort of juxtaposed on top of each other. And there's some really cool kind of atmospheric, kind of moody ideas that are inside of that. And it's really easy to do, and I just thought we'd jump right into it. So let's just take the key of G, for example. So if you want a more exotic, and maybe if exotic is not the right word, just a different flavor to your G major chord or any major chord, take the fifth of that note. So in this case, the fifth of G is D, right? And a couple easy ways to play this. If I'm playing a D major over a G, I only got so many fingers to make this happen. So there's got to be choices that are made as far as which notes get cut. But if I think of this as just playing a D major, then I'm going to lay my index finger over the second fret, and then I'm going to put my ring finger where my, typically my ring finger is on a D, on the third fret of the B string. The middle finger is going to come down here to the third fret of the low E. That's kind of cool. So it's like a G major 7. It's actually G major 9 because you've got a there in the chord. And if you want to, just for giggles, you can put a B in there, but then you're going to sacrifice that A note. But you get the idea. That's a cool sound, right? You can also do it this way. Think of this bar chord right here, right? Leave this guy right here, but you're probably going to need your pinky. So pinky's going to go across the 7th fret of the D, of the G, and of the B. And then index finger is going to stretch all the way down here to the low E. That one's great for palm muting. Let's see, here's another one. This one kind of involves throwing the thumb over the back of the neck here. And so we'll get to that in a second, but let's start with index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, holding down that D note. The middle finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the D. And then the ring finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the G. So if you're looking at that, that's basically a B minor, right? Right? And then pinky's going to be on the 5th fret of the high E, hitting that A note. So again, if you're thinking of, it's almost B minor 7 at this point. Then your thumb comes around and hits that G on the 3rd fret. And those are all well and good, but the voicing I like a lot is this guy right here. So think of this as an F shape, right? And you're going to do, don't worry about the high E. Let's just get with the middle finger, 10th fret of the B. Ring finger is 11th fret of the G. And then your pinky is the 12th fret of the D. And now index finger is going to hit that G note that's on the 10th fret of the A string. So think of this as a D major with G in the bass. And the same will be true if I move this around. Here's a G major with the C in the bass, right? And there's a ton of songs that you play that are 1/4, so like G to C. And if you spiced it up, I mean, even just listen to that. That's normal cowboy G. Going to that C sus2, so like sort of the praise and worship G, right? And then go to this G major, or this D over G, to this G over C. So right there, that's a cool little dab of flavor in there. It's like you just threw a little Mountain Dew in your morning breakfast cereal. Woo! Right? So what else can I do with that? Well, besides having some different flavored chords, which is plenty in of itself, there's also some cool kind of solo-y ideas. If I'm playing over a G chord and I play D major, and then over the C, play G major. So just noodling around. Right? And all I'm really doing there is basically going back and forth between, in my head, I'm going, okay, D major to G major, right? And just then when I was doing that noodle, I was coming out of this sort of shape. Again, this F shape. And when I was playing Gravity just a second ago and I did this little tends to be a melodic device that gets used a lot and feels super duper natural, especially coming out of that shape. So what am I doing? Well, think of this as an F shape here on the 3rd fret. So I've got my ring finger on the 5th fret of the D, I've got my middle finger on the 4th fret of the G, and then index finger is covering both the B and the high E strings on the 3rd fret. And if you don't do that already, you should check that out sometime. Just doing like a rake where you're basically raking straight down with your pick, and then one at a time where you end up on this. I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there. And this little melody here, I know we've talked about this before. Well, so, and then when I got, that was over the C. And you can do the same thing over the G. Right? That little lick. Not to mention, what minor pentatonic works over D major? B minor, right? We talked about that before, but don't hurt to talk about it again. So the reason that works is D's relative minor is B minor, right? And G's relative minor is E minor. Well, that's another way to approach that. So if over the G chord I'm playing B minor, what does that sound like? Well, if we go back to that and turn my piano back on here. B minor pentatonic. The money note is that major 7 right there, E minor. Same thing over the C. Those major 7s end up being really nice because actually there's not a whole lot of difference between B minor. If you just spell it out, write it down. You've got a B, you've got a D, you've got an E, you've got an F sharp, and you've got an A. B minor, and then E minor, you've got an E, you got a G, you got an A, and you got a B, and you got a D, right? That F sharp, that's the cool money note when you're using this kind of polychord idea where you're juxtaposing one chord over another. I would love if you can write down in the comments below, what are some 2-chord songs, or at least like where the verse or the chorus is 2 chords that you end up finding you're playing a lot. I would love to talk about some ideas of how to approach some of those. So any 2-chord songs that you're interested in trying this idea over, put those in the comment below. Also, if you are interested in me finishing that gravity thing that I was working on, put that there too. That'd give me a good reason to go ahead and attack that thing. Hope y'all are enjoying this. I sure do appreciate your comments, and thanks for watching Chords and Coffee.